at it again. Their second attempt at the Dr. Seuss adaptation, and once again they failed. Hey guys, this is Frozen Things Fuse here, and welcome back to another rant on a Illumination movie as part of my Illumination marathon leading up to the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Before I get started, I just want to say, hooray! The Mario movie is now out in my country. I'm gonna see it on either Saturday or Sunday. Hopefully Saturday, but it depends on stuff. But yeah, at least I saw it online, so I don't really have to rush to see it in theaters. But we'll see. But yeah. But anyway, let's get back to it now. I'm here today to do a rant on the Grinch. So the Grinch is an adaptation of the beloved Dr. Seuss book, and at the same time a remake of the 2000 Jim Carrey version of the Grinch, and also Joshua's version, in like back then in the older times, 1960s I think, and came out in the year 2018 and is directed by Yaro Cheney. Yeah, one of the only Illumination movies besides I'm saying to not be directed by Chris Renard or Pierre Coffin, Chris Renard, and stars Benedict Cumberbatch, Rashida Jones, Pharrell Williams, Angela Lansbury, a bunch of others, I guess. So basically, the plot tells a story. Well, do I even need to tell you the story? Come on, it's the Grinch. We all know the story about the Grinch. You know, the Grinch is just some grumpy green monster who hates Christmas because he had a bad Christmas life as a kid, and now he wants to ruin Christmas. And yada yada yada. Well, it's pretty much the same thing. So yeah, if you want to know my thoughts on the two original Grinch movies that came before this, well, the Josh Jones version is a masterpiece and obviously the best Grinch movie. I mean, there is no competition here whatsoever. The Jim Carrey Grinch movie is solid. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's a movie I'd watch every Christmas, but it is a really good movie with a stellar performance from Jim Carrey, who fits perfectly as the Grinch. So yeah, when Illumination now was announced to be making the Grinch, I was like, really, Illumination? Yeah. I mean, the trailer for this movie looked awful. Probably one of the worst trailers I've ever seen. Just by the trailer alone, you can clearly tell that Illumination already ruined the Grinch by making him look so inoffensive and lighthearted, and even his design looks awful. Yeah, I got this trailer a few times when I saw movies in theaters. I remember seeing this when I saw Pacific Rim Uprising in theaters. Yeah, no surprise because from Universal. I saw this when I saw Skyscraper in theaters. And Venom and pretty much and non Disney and a bunch of non Disney anime movies. I got this shirt too. So yeah. Thank God I skipped this movie in theaters because I was pretty much done with Illumination at this point. I didn't really want to see any Illumination movies. Despicable Me 3 was the last Illumination movie I saw in theaters, and you all probably know how much I hate Despicable Me 3 with a burning passion. Yeah, it is one of the worst anime movies ever, and that was the movie that made me realize that Illumination is actually a terrible studio, and most of their films, except for the first Despicable Me movie and Mario, are absolutely terrible. So this was the first Illumination movie I skipped in theaters. Technically, also didn't see Hop in theaters. But maybe not for the reason that I didn't want to watch the Illumination movie. I actually wanted to watch it when I saw the poster in one of my local cinemas. But my mom's like, no, I don't think you'll like this movie. So yeah, my mom said no. So oh well. But yeah. Eventually I saw the Grinch when it came on digital, and oh boy, wow! Like yeah, it was, of course it was bad. And I saw it again back in December 2020. Honestly, back in December 2020, I was kind of generous to this movie for well, I'll explain at the end because it has something to do with my rating. But I was pretty kind to it back then. But looking back on the Grinch now, I gotta say this movie sucks. Yeah, I think this is another failed attempt at a Dr. Seuss adaptation, and Illumination needs to stop. Yeah, I don't know why Illumination decided to do this again after the Lars. In fact, the fact that this is Illumination doing another, making another attempt at a Dr. Seuss adaptation is another reason why I was dreading this movie because, I mean, after that failure that was the Lorax, I mean, who knew that Illumination would actually make a so-called good Dr. Seuss movie? There was no way that this was gonna be good in any shape or form, and my God, yeah, I hate everything about this movie. Yeah, it was a lot worse. If yeah, I must say right now, although this may not be the worst Illumination movie, or at least like one of among the top five worst Illumination movies, this is the most boring Illumination movie. And it's really sad to call this the most boring because this is actually the shortest Illumination movie with only 1 hour and 25 movie. Yeah, so with this being the shortest um running Illumination movie, you could think that Illumination that this one would actually be would how do I say is this would actually be well, a fast paced movie. No, it feels slow. This movie is so slow. Like it moves at such a snail's pace, and literally the the heist doesn't even happen until like the last 20 minutes of the movie. Well, I mean, yeah, sure, Hop was also slow paced, but not slow paced as this movie right here. Yeah, I was so bored. I literally wanted to give up like so many times. And yes, people, this is actually the second that Illumination, second time in my Illumination rewatch marathon where I actually gave up like before the movie ended. Yeah, I didn't finish all of it. The first time being the Lorax, I was like, yeah, I give up. This one, I actually gave up like when the Grinch redeemed himself and then and then he started loving Christmas again. Yeah, that I was like, I don't care about this. I gave up because this movie's just really bad. I just can't stand it. And yeah, let's talk about how they butchered the Grinch as a character. Yeah, because that is literally the biggest problem with the movie, right? The biggest problem in the movie. How they handle the Grinch. The Grinch is supposed to be an intimidating and scary villain who terrorizes Christmas and does a lot of villainous things. But this Grinch is so safe and so inoffensive. Like he's not intimidating. He's not threatening. Like this Grinch is basically nothing. Yeah, nothing. And Benedict Cumberbatch as Grinch, one of the most disappointing performances I have ever seen. First of all, what is Doctor Strange even doing in this movie? Like Benedict Cumberbatch, you're better than this. Don't embarrass yourself with starring this. But although I would say that Benedict Cumberbatch was actually a pretty good choice for the Grinch. I mean, he could literally use his usual, low, deep voice. Deep voice. I forgot. I was gonna intimate his accent, but I kind of forget how it sounds honestly. But I'm sure you know what I mean. Like he has this really deep voice that he should have used as a Grinch and could have worked. But instead, the Illumination literally, I was like, oh, Benedict Cumberbatch, don't forget, this is a kids movie, so you gotta use your light-hearted and innocent voice. And yeah, he sounds nothing like Benedict Cumberbatch. If you want to see a better Benedict Cumberbatch villain with an actual deep voice that he should have used when playing the Grinch, watch him as Smaug in Hobbit Desolation of Smaug and the beginning of Battle of the Five Armies. Yep, he actually does feel like his voice sounds like it sounds very intimidating. His voice sounds threatening. Why can't he do the same thing with the Grinch? Yeah, this just shows that Illumination is just playing itself like so safe and playing itself so safe and yeah. This movie is really annoying as well. The Grinch is more annoying than mean. Like he's just like everything he does like you're supposed to hate the Grinch. You're supposed to hate it for what he does, but not be annoyed by him. Not be annoyed by him. Cracking all these cracking all these jokes, those annoying jokes, and butt shaking and doing all these illumination shenanigans. Yeah. And yeah. Also, I care less about. I have nothing to say about the humans, specifically the Luhu characters and the Whoville citizens. City Luhu is basically a ripoff of Agnes and Edith. Now, yes, she's not supposed to be a ripoff, but how Illumination handles her character is that it's literally just a copy of Agnes and Edith. Like I mean, her design, like her face, and even the animation, of her character is literally just so just yeah, just a copy. I mean, her face looks like Agnes, and her hair looks like Edith without the beanie that she wears throughout the. I mean, if you take if Agnes if Edith like takes out her beanie and reveals how her head looks like, I bet it'll look exactly like Cindy Lou. That's pretty much another example of that's another example of Illumination being constantly lazy with their animation, which yeah, Illumination's animation's always been lazy. Like recycling character designs. Cindy Lou Who being a perfect example of that, and the Grinch literally having such a boring and bland design. Yeah, I also hate that rap song that I also hate that rap song that I'm sure you know that what I'm sure you know what I mean by that like you're a mean one Mr. Grinch song I mean the 2000s Grinch movie had such a really great incarnation of it. You're a mean one, you're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. But this one is basically you're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You really are here, blah blah blah. Like why? And yeah. Is there anything else? Oh yeah. Also, there's a scene where there's this Christmas choir singing Christmas songs, and then the Grinch, literally covers his ears. The choir literally is trying to follow the Grinch and annoy him to death with their singing. Like, oh, that was one of the worst scenes in the film. Um, and also like what the Grinch doesn't feel intimidating. Like he destroys someone's snowman, like a little boy's snowman, and then like he just randomly picks grocery stores and knocks items at the grocery store and knocks one down and it breaks. Like so inoffensive. And also I hate the narrator, Pharrell Williams narrating. Like it's like the dialogue is cringe as well, especially on the narration. It's just like that's pretty much a mistake that was repeated from Laura. It's literally trying to way too hard to rhyme, but the rhyming is just so cringe. It's just so cringe worthy, and yeah, the heist is really boring, and also this movie has the typical Illumination subplot of Cindy trying to kidnap Santa, but I mean, why would Cindy try to kidnap Santa? That's abuse. Like why? And also yeah. Nothing much else to say. Yeah, this movie's garbage, and honestly, this is like probably the least I have to say about the Illumination movie. It's just one big snooze fest. Like honestly, this might be the worst and this is the worst anime movie of 2018. Like right on par with Sherlock Gnomes, but I think that I don't know which one is worse though. I'll have to think about it. But this and Sherlock Gnomes are neck and neck as the worst anime movies in 2018. I even take films something like Teen Titans Go to the movies over this. Yeah, yeah. Thinking about it, yeah, this is the worst anime movie 2018. Yeah, and honestly, 2018 was actually a pretty good year for animated films. I mean, you got films like Spider-Verse, Incredibles 2, Isle of Dogs, all those great movies. The underrated Next Gen. I recommend watching the Next Gen. It's on Netflix, by the way. Like, so yeah, I also like the good movies overshadow the bad movies. So, I mean, there could have been a worse anime movies than this. I would say that the worst anime movies of 2019 is worse than this one. But yeah, I just don't really care anymore. I just don't care. Yeah, this movie is really bad. I don't have much else to say about it. So yeah, this movie is a waste of time. Thank God I didn't see it in theaters. And there were better November 2018 movies to watch in theaters. Like Bohemian Rhapsody, which was phenomenal. I saw Bohemian Rhapsody instead. I saw the underrated Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald in theaters. Yeah, sadly I saw Rough Racing in theaters, which is almost just as bad as this one right here. And I would easily put Rough Racing Internet in my top 5 worst anime movies of 2018 list for sure. But although my favorite movie of November 2018 is Creed 2. Sadly I didn't see Creed 2 in theaters, even though I should have. But Yeah, just screw my local cinemas for only like giving that film such a limited um that's such a limited cinema run. So yeah, this is certainly the worst November 2018 movie, worse than Robin Hood 2018. So yeah, with that said, I'm gonna give the Grinch 2018 a 1 out of 10. Oh my god. Thank God this nightmare's over. Yep, no more Dr. Seuss movie Illumination. And Illumination, don't you dare touch my favorite Dr. Seuss book, Wacky Wednesday. Yeah, yeah, I know I don't really talk about that much, but Wacky Wednesday was such a huge part of my childhood, and it's my favorite Dr. Seuss book. And also, Don't Touch Green Eggs and Ham as well, because that's also another one of my favorite Dr. Seuss books. So, yeah. Thankfully, The Grinch and the Lords aren't among my favorite Dr. Seuss stories. So, yeah. Um, so yeah, that's all for my rant and the Laura Grinch. Um, so actually, it's a 1 out of 10. I don't know if I actually said my rating for this, but yeah, it's a 1 out of 10, obviously. Yeah. This is better than a Lorax, but not saying much. So yeah. That's all for my rant on the lore on the Grinch. What is your opinion on this movie? Do you agree with me that this is the worst Grinch movie ever? And also a question to y'all: which movie is better? The live action Grinch Jim Carrey version from 2010 or this version right here? Honestly, this one makes me appreciate the Jim Carrey version a lot more than I initially did. So yeah, comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for my rant on Secret Life of Pets 2. Thankfully, one of the more tolerable Illumination movies, but let's see how it goes on rewatch. So yeah, bye guys.